Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another random review. As you can see, today's random review is another Warner Archive Blu-ray, and this is Guns for San Sebastian from 1968, directed by Henri Villeneuve, starring Anthony Quinn and Charles Bronson, shot in glorious widescreen colour by the same cinematographer that did quite a lot of Clouseau films, Gloom Verite, La Diabolique and The Wages of Fear. Scored by Ennio Morricone, so if that's not an excuse to pick up another film scored by Ennio Morricone, as if you need another excuse. This is a wonderfully silly film, perfect Sunday afternoon entertainment. I picked this up, as I said, in my haul video for the 2 for 15 on Warner Archive, on HMV, and strangely enough Amazon.co.uk I've started doing a 2 for 15 with some Warner Archive titles as well. I'm a fan of Henri Villeneuve, I can't pronounce his name, for Un Songe en Hiver, the Sicilian Clan, which he did a year later, I Call Me Car, which is absolutely fantastic, and Mille Milliards de Dollars, which are all kind of crime gangster films, so it was kind of a bit unusual to realise that he did Guns for San Sebastian, which is in English, obviously with Anthony Quinn and Charles Bronson. We're just dropped into the plot. This is in 1786, I think, and Anthony Quinn is being chased by the Mexican army, and he finds refuge in Sam Jaffe's church, Sam Jaffe being a priest, and also the army and the church want Anthony Quinn given up to the government, but Sam Jaffe is a priest of principle, but for his part he gets sent to the middle of nowhere, to this little village of San Sebastian. Its church is in ruins, and it's pretty much a ghost town. All the villagers are hiding in the mountains. Sam Jaffe smuggles Anthony Quinn out under his wagon, and he rings the bell for Christians to come in San Sebastian, but the only thing that comes is a little dog, which Anthony Quinn wants to kill and eat. Fortunately that doesn't happen. He's not in Kuya, but unfortunately a bandit comes as well and shoots Sam Jaffe, who's fairly philosophical about the whole thing. And then Anthony Quinn, as some of the villagers do appear, Anthony Quinn is mistaken for a priest, and they want him to stay and help them. And obviously Anthony Quinn is a bit of a rebel rouser, womanizer, a little bit unusual for a priest with his unusual methods. But they witness a miracle, or do they? And they start believing that Anthony Quinn is a priest. And of course, with everybody hanging on his every word, it does kind of go to his head a little bit. The town is in danger of... they've been run off by Charles Bronson and his bunch of miscreants. There's also Yaquis Indians in the area as well, who want to destroy everything Christian, of course. Who wouldn't? And it becomes a little bit Seven Samurai. He gets a master architect, turns up to build a wall to protect the village. He has the idea the crops are failing, the corn's dying through lack of water, so he has a plan to dam the river, which Charles Bronson obviously doesn't like, because it means a waterfall will die compared with all the villagers. When Charles Bronson and Anthony Quinn share the screen, there's an electricity in the air that's just quite wonderful. Obviously Charles Bronson in the same year, or the same year of its release, was obviously Once Upon a Time in the West in 1968. And he's fantastic in this. There's great kind of sparring dialogue between the two legends. I mean, you couldn't make this film now, because Anthony Quinn and Charles Bronson are both dead, but that's not the point. You couldn't make it now. I'd say it's shot beautifully. The colour in widescreen, the countryside is absolutely lovely. And of course there's points about faith and religion. Anthony Quinn has a few tricks up his sleeve to obviously get guns for San Sebastian. At no point, spoiler alert, at no point does Anthony Quinn hold a cannon like a rocket launcher. That's a little bit artistic license. He calls in favours from his past, of the wife of an important person who he has been diddling. Even there's a moment where the supposed romantic interest in the village wants him to diddle her. He actually turns her down because some of the priestly stuff is getting into his head. I mean, at no point does he convert, thank goodness, into believing in a god. But he sees the power of community and faith and belief in something, even if it is invisible friends. It's just a good old-fashioned rock'em sock'em Sunday afternoon adventure I would highly recommend for £7.50 on Blu-ray, because the Blu-ray looks really nice. There's a couple of moments of brutality. There's a couple of quite nasty deaths. There's a couple of wonderful set pieces. And again, Vernieu just makes it all fly along quite nicely. It's 111 minutes. It does drag slightly in the second half, but apart from that, it's wonderful stuff. I can't believe I've never actually seen it before, because as I said, it feels like a film that would be on afternoon television, certainly in the UK. Again, it does remind me of that Frank Sinatra film, I think with Sophia Loren, about pulling a cannon through the countryside, which for some reason the title slips my mind. And again, maybe the cover reminds me of that as well. But this is just wonderful. I mean, Anthony Quinn just being iconic, and Charles Bronson being just super cool, basically. Even though his motivations as the antagonist are not obviously for the best, because he's an antagonist. He wants control of the simple-minded villagers, and obviously Anthony Quinn's character is showing them a different way, and to stand up on their own 2 feet. And again, sometimes you have to fight for what you want, Obviously, sadly, people die, but the message should be clear. If you want to live in peace, you're going to have to die first. Like I said, it's just a wonderful film. It's not deep or it's not got the meaning of life, but you could do a lot worse than checking out The Guns of San Sebastian, if not just for beautiful cinematography, great two powerful magnetic performances, and another just lush, gentle. It's not as much in your face as some of Morricone's more famous scores, but it's just absolutely an exquisite Morricone score. Yeah, just another one. Yeah, Guns of San Sebastian from 1968. Well worth your time if you're feeling in that kind of Sunday afternoon mood. So thanks very much for watching. Please let me know if you've seen The Guns of San Sebastian, and how many there actually are. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching. This is Saul Girona from Saul Girona Films, saying farewell.